Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And we know they are really groovy.
Hey, everybody. This is going to be an ecstatically fun show because the topic of tonight's show is Westerns, our favorite Western movies. And it's one of those things that when I run into people from various corners of the world, there are parts of the world where they still feel that the Westerns depict real American life even till today. I've had people ask me if Americans all own horses, if we all own guns, if we all wear cowboy hats. And the answer, of course, to all of those things is yes, we do. We all own horses. We all do. No, we don't all, but we do share this in common. It's a big part of the American ethos and mythos and culture. So I'm excited to go down and see what the guys have picked as their favorite Western movies and to add some of my own. So to bring up our cowboys, this cowgirl introduces Manny Zamora in his cowboy hat, and Roy, the man of a billion voices, in his.
Well, there you go, little lady. Oh, well, I'm ready for this one. Got my popcorn right here. Uh-huh.
I can see that.
Well. See, the thing is, I was looking for a cowboy hat, and all I found is this one. And I don't know. I look like a mobster from Miami Vice more than a Western character, but
That there is a Southern Martin
yep,
cowboy hat.
yep.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
There you go. Yeah,
And you
I
live in
would.
right.
I think it's a cowboy hat, but then you would be snorting coke from the back of the horse. I think the
this
Miami.
one,
Right.
the Stetson. It's the one that John Wayne used to wear in all his movies. It's called the Santa Fe. And I ordered it on Amazon.
Cowboys don't order on Amazon. I don't think. I feel like that goes against the rules.
Of course they do. This is my terrible James Jimmy
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart. Thank you. I couldn't even think of his last name.
Uh,
But anyway, so because there's a movie where the two of them are in there. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop now.
Jimmy Stewart was actually in quite a few westerns. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you the truth, Manny, that was my favorite impression you've ever done. I love it. I knew instantly who you were doing. It is I think it's a
the
perfect.
stutter, wasn't it? Wow.
Yeah, there's the stutter.
Just wait a minute.
He's always a little like insecure about what he's saying. He's
Yeah,
always a little high strung, right?
yeah.
Shoot
And,
us.
I didn't include. I should have included one of my favorite Jimmy Stewart westerns. Is Jimmy Stewart and Henry Fonda were in a movie together, where
Yes, they were.
Stewart winds up
Ye-
inheriting this body house, and he and
Say that again. Say that word again. I love hearing you say that word.
body house.
Yeah, I love that. Oh man, I gotta put that on a loop. And there's ladies. I'll get rich off of that. I'll put it on a loop, and some women will pay for it. In your voice. Oh, I love your voice, Manny. Sorry.
Body,
I'm sorry.
body house.
We're public right now. I
Yeah,
apologize.
that's right. We're in public.
Continue.
All right. Well, yeah, we're here to talk about westerns.
Yes, and to
Westerns.
Now,
Go ahead.
I want to say for the record that we talked about Unforgiven ad nauseum a couple of shows ago when we were talking about Clint Eastwood.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that one's not on my list today, but it is one of my favorite westerns.
Right.
Yeah, me too. For the pretty much for the same reason. No, what I was going to say was
There's other
westerns.
things we can talk about,
Exactly.
Mhm.
Westerns and movies pretty much grew up together. Uh, in fact, one of the first movies with any kind of narrative or storyline was called The Great Train Robbery, which was a western,
Correct.
and it
1903.
was
Oh, so
1903.
good.
Yeah, and it
So good.
Full
caused
mentions list.
quite the stir, quite the sensation when it first premiered or when it was first shown. People were like aghast, uh, because they were used to stage plays, and and then all of a sudden, yeah, they really thought that there was a train coming, and it really took people by, and
The hombre shoots right at the camera.
yeah. I'm sure people were like, thinking that we're actually getting shot at. Uh, so westerns is a genre that's, like I said, it's been around since the birth of cinema, and
Yep.
a lot of it, of course, is based on the myth of the Old West and good guys and bad guys, and cowboys and Indians and all that. But
I
as
want to
time,
confirm what Renee said too. When I lived in China, they all love westerns over there. They think that's
Mhm.
like the best cinema from over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, westerns are popular. Yeah, pretty much all over the world. And uh, but as society progressed, society changes. The westerns started. There was a period on television where every other show was western. It seemed
Uh-huh.
like every channel had a western. It was one of the most popular genres next to cop shows and medical shows. It was one of the
Mhm.
top three. But like a lot of things, it kind of fell out of favor. I think people started like
Well, they just
questioning the
overdid it.
whole.
It was just saturated. They overdid it, and people
Yeah,
started watching it all the time. And then when they
yeah,
tried to reboot, when they tried to come back and make westerns again,
hmm
um, it was like they were trying to do it differently. It
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
look right. It didn't feel right.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, I think people started looking at westerns and realizing, well, that's not really how it was, and I think they were trying to become more realistic, trying to portray, you know, uh, Native Americans or indigenous people, not as just these savages, but actually as people, and so forth. And so I think there was an effort to sort of demythologize the West and the Western, and I think a lot of people were like, no, we like the shoot 'em ups, the old timey Western. Although I mean, some are popular, but anyway, but things are always kind of cyclical, and there might be who knows, there might be a resurgence of Western.
You never know.
Although Kevin Costner, he recently released one, and apparently it's flopped at the box office for one reason or another, which is surprising because Kevin Costner. But maybe people just aren't in the mood for them, or they're just not the genre that's in right now.
Yeah, young
And
kids
who
today,
knows if they'll ever be again.
they want superheroes. They don't want cowboys and Indians.
Yeah. So
Different time.
different time, exactly. All right. So Rory, why don't you begin? Why don't you begin there, number one? I went last
Okay.
time.
I think that the greatest Western of all time, and it's ironically made in Italy, is Once Upon a Time in the West. Actually, the top two of my list is Italian spaghetti Western.
Cool. Okay.
Um, the story is awesome. The characters are extremely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Hank Fonda plays one of the meanest, nastiest bad guys to ever come down the pike.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was, Hank Fonda's leading man. You don't think of him as a villain, but in this, oh my God. Now, I think it deserves mentioning that there was another spaghetti Western with Terrence Hill
Mhm.
called My Name Is Nobody that also had Henry Fonda in it.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the fastest gun alive, and it's the story about how he wants to disassociate himself from all of that. And there's a guy that, he's a very fast gun, and he decides, I want to be the guy to take you down, and we'll do it. We'll plan it. And that's actually a very good movie. It's called My Name Is Nobody. That's the American.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but Once Upon a Time in the West is just, man, it's classic. Charles Bronson, never better than in that. It's just got a fantastic cast. Great music by Ennio Morricone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I think next to The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, speaking of the themes, the theme from
Mhm.
Once Upon a Time in the West is just incredible. I mean, one of Morricone's best, exactly, just like you said. And got to mention, of course, Charles Bronson, Claudia Cardinale, Jason Robards, also
Jason Robards is probably
excellent.
the best role ever.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I got to be honest. I didn't put any of the spaghetti westerns on my list simply because I almost feel like that should be a separate, its own category. But no, I mean that's fine. I
I get
thought,
it.
you know what, I'm going to concentrate on mostly like American westerns movies,
Okay.
which are some of my favorites. Although I love spaghetti westerns. Uh,
Sergio Leone, he knew what he was doing,
oh yeah,
and he knew the genre. He obviously a huge fan of the genre.
hmm
And despite the fact that they were in Italy,
yeah,
he made it work.
yeah,
He used Italian actors as Mexicans and most
yeah,
of those.
yeah,
Um, and every now and again, you would see a Klaus Kinski or somebody pop in.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
just brilliant, brilliant work. And again, all those soundtracks by Morricone. Oh my God, so
Oh
good,
yeah, yeah.
so good. I could watch spaghetti westerns all night.
Oh yeah. Um, I was going to say something. Oh,
Is the second
yeah.
one. That's
Mo-
my number.
oh, okay. Most of them were actually shot in Spain,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and in fact, I think some of the village, some of the sets are still there, uh, and they become tourist attractions. So if anybody wants to make another spaghetti western, the sets are there.
Ooh.
Yeah, bring
Wow,
them
wow.
back.
Ah.
Well, I think
That
what's
would be
interesting about spaghetti westerns, and we'll move on from that, but I just want to say this. I think what makes them so unique is that different perspective. This is a perspective from somebody who's not American, who grew up with the movies, but he said, I'm going to give this my own spin, because American movies at the time, when he was making those in the 60s and early 70s, well, mostly in the 60s,
Mhm.
they were very clean. They were, even though they were set in the West, and he said, no, this would be dirty. That would be sweaty. That would be nasty. And that's what you get. You get this very grungy look. And plus, you get these men with these craggy, wrinkled faces that you would expect from people in the West, the sun beating down on them. And of course, Morricone is or not Morricone, but Leone is famous for the close up, especially the eyes. He always focuses
Right.
on the character's eyes. And that's
That's
one
right.
thing that I thought about. You talking about Henry Fonda. He made Fonda's eyes just pop. They were never. I never realized just how blue they were
Yeah.
from the cinematography. It's just amazing. But anyway, so good choice. That's a very good choice. All right, so my number one.
So very blue, and he used those to their fullest.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. So my number one is The Magnificent Seven,
Hmm.
the original from
Yeah.
1963.
Yeah. Denzel crap.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, not that Denzel crap.
Yeah, not the remake.
It's not a bad movie, but compared to the original, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I remember this person that I worked with, it was a coworker of mine, I should say, said that Magnificent Seven, you could smell the testosterone because I mean Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson,
Robert Vaughn,
Robert Vaughn,
James
uh,
Coburn.
James Coburn, Dexter Ward, and then this kid, Horst Buchholz, who is a German actor that the studio thought this guy he was actually billed as the German or the German James Dean or the next James Dean, and he was going to be a big star, which he was. I mean, he went on to do a lot of movies both in America and Europe, but I don't think any of them is really as famous as Magnificent Seven.
Mm.
So, but yeah. Oh, and of course Eli Wallach as the bad guy. Maybe a bit of controversial casting nowadays, since he's playing a Mexican, which he went on to play very similar roles in the spaghetti westerns, uh,
Right,
with Clint Eastwood.
right. Like
But
two in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Tuco, yeah,
He was the ugly.
it was the ugly, yeah, exactly. But he's
And then
so good.
Mr. Freeze on Batman, the TV show.
Oh yeah,
Rusty Chillblaze.
So he played German in that.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, but still, you have to take into account the
At
time it
that
was
time,
made. And
he
it
was
was
a character
really,
actor. Yeah.
and it was great. He was such a good villain. Uh, and yeah, just terrific cast of actors. Great storyline. Group of
Yep.
heroes, group of guys going to save a Mexican village from this band of outlaws and bandits who keeps raiding them and taking their stuff, and
Mhm.
just
It's actually a remake of the Seven Samurai.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, Seven
Kurosawa.
Samurai from Kurosawa. Yeah, which is a great movie in itself too. And if you haven't seen the original, highly recommend it, especially the Criterion release of it. Uh, do yourselves a favor and check out the original Seven Samurais. But Magnificent Seven, Magnificent Seven does a really good job of keeping the spirit of that original movie, and of course making it very American, making it a Western. Even though there were like three actors who were not even American, Yul Brynner and Charles Bronson, and of course Holtz. Um, but yeah, just like I said, it is a testosterone fest. Lots of iconic scenes, great dialogue, and Steve McQueen. This is one of his first movies after doing Wanted Dead or Alive, which was another Western, and Robert Vaughn, who was in The Man from Uncle. But Steve McQueen set out to pretty much steal every scene that he could from Yul Brynner, and he always did. He was always doing
Right.
some little bit of business just to kind of pull focus away from him, and Brynner kind of got sick of it, after a while, but. And so they weren't exactly friends after that, but still, just a great movie. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's my number one.
I think McQueen said he had to try to do whatever he could to he didn't have a lot of dialogue. So he had to try to
Yeah.
do whatever he could to get noticed in scenes. When Brenner took off his hat and that ball, that chrome dome shone, in the sunlight, he
Yeah.
said, I didn't know what I could do to upstage it. So I would just like take my hat and reach down and get some water and throw it on my head or something.
Mhm.
And like you said, eventually Brenner kind of got wind or kind of figured it out and just
Mhm.
didn't like it. You're trying to see Lucas from me.
Look, I think you better stop with that.
Moses has come down from the mountain.
That's right. So let it be written, so let it be done. What's interesting is that Yul Brynner went on to do the sequel, the Magnificent, the sequel to this one, but he reprised his character, although he was given a name, in Westworld of all things, in a sci-fi movie with
Chris, right?
Chris was his name in this one, but they never really gave him a name, and he was just the robot. He was just a gunslinger, I think they called it.
Right.
And that was interesting because the movie was directed by Michael Crichton, who went on to write, Jurassic Park and all those books.
Yeah.
Well, he had already written books, but he wanted to direct, and so he wrote the
Andromeda
screenplay, did Andromeda Strain and all those, and so he got the chance to direct and star in the movie, and just completely lucked out that Yul Brynner actually agreed to do this movie and essentially reprise his role from Magnificent Seven, or at least something very similar. He had the same costume and the hat and all that, but a robot version of that character. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So what was your number two? You said it's another spaghetti
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh, the good, the bad, the ugly. Yeah.
That trilogy, the Fistful of Dollars, and A Few Dollars More, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. It was the longest, and again, the other two did not have Eli Wallach, who is really good as Tuco in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
It's just a more dynamic, more interesting movie than the other two. There's more of a story to it, and the finale is magnificent. Magnificent 3.
Yeah. The final showdown. Yeah.
For A Few Dollars, they progressively got better, is what happened. Fistful of Dollars was very good. Then they progressively got better. They threw Lee Van Cleef in for A Few Dollars More, and then the grand third installment, which
had both Van Cleef and Eli Wallach.
Right, takes place in the Civil War, and again, there's just a much more interesting story, and the hurdles they've got to get over to get to this cachet that they're looking for, this gold.
Yeah.
Which is buried in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And again, really, really good Western. And everybody's just wonderful in it. Leone just has such a great take on, like you said, on the grittiness of the time. And, also what I like about Leone's films is he always does like really cool tricks with the gunplay. In the movies, and again, it doesn't get much better than this one, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And again, on the other one that I mentioned earlier, that which is not on the list today, for A Few Dollars. I'm sorry, My Name Is Nobody. So, yeah. So it definitely. I know it's a spaghetti western, but I know both the two top ones on my list are spaghetti westerns. I feel they deserve to be there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other interesting thing is that
7 for 3.
Yeah. Well, Fistful of Dollars is actually another remake of a Kurosawa film called Yojimbo, with it's a Japanese actor, Mifune, or Mifune, yeah. Yeah, him. And it's another
many times.
Yeah, it's another samurai movie, and so they remade it as a Fistful of Dollars
as a western.
Yeah, and
another
successful, yeah, and it was remade again as Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis, which which apparently does not curry favor with you. But
to be honest with you, I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, yeah, it was okay. Like I said, it's a remake of a remake. They reset it during it's set in the 1930s, but it's the exact same plot. It's the exact same plot. So you didn't miss much. But Bruce Willis does give a pretty decent performance as the lone gunman.
Got to the ghost, have a few laughs.
Yeah, exactly.
He's made some
But
stinkers. So if it's something I've heard of, that's
Willis,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah, that's unfortunate because Willis, he actually is he's a very good actor. When he's in the
yeah,
hands of a really good director and has a really good script,
yes.
you were like, wow, that's a great performance. But you can always tell when it's just he just phones it in and it's
The
kind of
early Die
sad.
Hard films, very good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even as they got sillier, yeah. But the first three are great.
Yes,
Even though they're
that's what I mean.
yeah.
The
Oh,
first
okay.
after that,
Yeah, yeah. It's like cash grab. We're just doing this for the paycheck, clearly. But yeah, don't want to diss Willis too much right now. But anyway, all right,
right.
great choice. Uh, so my number two is The Wild Bunch from director Sam Peckinpah.
Second,
This
Sam
one is
Paul.
this one is probably as close to an American version of these spaghetti westerns that we've seen. Again, Peckinpah decided, you know what? I'm not going to turn this into another pretty western because he already did that with things like Cat Ballou and other movies like that. Said no, this one's going to be gritty. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be violent. Lots of blood. Lots of but it's still. And again, another great cast: William Holden, Ernest Borgnine, Warren Oates, Ben Johnson. Uh,
Ben Johnson's done a lot of westerns.
oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
all Johnson
Another
did was westerns.
yeah. In fact, I think he was in one of the Magnificent Seven sequels,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised.
the Magnificent
Which,
Seven ride, the one with George
yeah,
Kennedy.
yeah. I think so. Yeah, and and the main villain of the movie was an actual. They actually got a Mexican actor to play a Mexican character, legendary Mexican actor
Imagine
named
that.
Emilio Fernandez as the just the evil general, the federale general.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, yeah, it's and again, you got these guys, uh, the core group who are not heroes by any means. They're former cavalry soldiers who decided to turn to bank robbery, and the movie opens with a bank robbery, and come to find out later that there was the money they thought they had run off with was just a bunch of like plugs or washers or something. So they actually came away with nothing. It's all for nothing. And so they wind up going to Mexico, where they wind up in the middle of the Mexican Revolution, uh, and you know, are becoming embroiled with this Mexican general, who winds up killing one of their friends, and they wind up having this. The final confrontation, the final battle, is just one of the most violent things you've ever seen. I mean, it's like, okay, I think Quentin Tarantino must have watched this movie several times because a lot of his shootouts remind me of the final shootout in
So I'm watching The Wild Bunch.
exactly, yeah. Uh, so, but anyway, so that's my number two. It's just again, uh, kind of an anti-western, if you really think about it.
That's a good name for that. Actually,
Yeah,
that's a good title. That is anti-western. It really
yeah,
didn't seem like. I mean, it is a western, but it didn't seem like a western to me for some reason. It's kind of an anti-western, like you said.
yeah.
So even those
But
kind of people that you expect in westerns, the Dub Taylors and all those character actors are in there somewhere.
yeah.
Royal Danos.
Well, you mentioned Strother Martin earlier. He's
Yeah,
actually in this movie. So
yeah.
as this posse that goes after the Wild Bunch. and he's just nasty, dirty, you know, just a dumb character. But yeah, and Robert Ryan's in the movie, he's done other westerns as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's my number 2. So
Magnificent Seven was my number 3.
Oh, okay.
We've
All
already
right.
talked about that.
Hey, can I play a
okay.
clip from Magnificent Seven?
Sure.
Please do.
All right, because it was on both of your lists, and of course everybody loves it. So this is after the knife, the infamous, fastest knife in town place.
Oh
so.
yeah.
That's a great scene, but
Yeah.
this is right after it here. So
Because if I leave here with empty hands, everybody in this village will answer to me when I come back.
You won't come back.
You're a
Why
Jew.
not?
You won't have any guns. Take them off right now and drop them.
Generosity. That was my first mistake. I leave these people a little bit extra and they hire these men to make trouble. It shows you, sooner or later, you must answer for every good deed.
I mean, it's just so cool. I could keep watching it, but it's just so cool. So that to me is like the iconic Western. I love that you both included it on your list because, of course, when I think the rest of the world, when we think of a Western, that scene, that's what it is. All the tables go up, people are jumping over stuff, and it just goes from to hell to hell in a handbasket in like
Exactly.
no time flat. Like everyone's just talking, and then all of a sudden it's like chaos, and it's just great. Yeah, it's amazing.
Enough talk. Let's fight.
Yeah, like there you go.
Exactly.
So, and Manny, that's what it's like
It's not
when you live in the
So
West,
Seven.
right?
It's the Magnificent Seven. That's why it's on both of our lists.
That's why it's there, and of course the amazing cast, and everybody is just so recognizable. Everybody's iconic. I can't believe they tried to remake it. I tried to watch the remake, and I had issues. I just couldn't do it. And
Yeah, I saw
goofy.
Denzel Washington in a remake of it might be good.
I was lightly amused by D'Onofrio's character, but other than
Yeah.
I
weird high pitched voice. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was supposed to be playing a real person, but
it was confusing. It was baffling, and I couldn't finish it. It was just, I couldn't figure it out.
It wasn't what we just saw in that clip. That's for
No,
sure.
it wasn't the cool, iconic, and I also love the colors, by the way, in these movies, the beige, the rustic colors. It just
all the
puts
earth
you
tones.
instantly, it's like you're out west. Before we move on, I wanted to say, because Manny opened the door here, I know this is silly. I know it's silly, but two of my favorite Westerns are Cat Ballou and City Slickers, which I know they're not real, I know they're silly. I know they're, but when I think, I love how they give an homage to the movies that you guys are listing right now. And so those are kind of a gateway to people who haven't really gotten into, I got into Westerns because I love
definitely deserves a nod, if for nothing else, for Lee Marvin's role.
Lee Marvin, yeah.
Oh, Lee Marvin.
He got the award for it, and he deserved it.
Yep.
Oh, he just is. He is beyond the beyond in there. I mean, in his transformation as he goes through this, where he's getting his mojo back, and you see his whole body change. He's such a great actor, and that was my introduction to Lee Marvin when I was a kid. I said, "Wow, I've got to. Who is this guy?" And it's like, well, he's famous. So yeah, incredible stuff. And then City Slickers was just so great because they did all the, they sort of did a nod to every little iconic part of every Western and made it funny and gave it heart, and the whole Billy Crystal sort of thing.
Billy Crystal, yeah.
So great, yeah. So I just wanted to bring those up because you mentioned Cat Ballou.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Palance, the grizzled old, It's so good.
I crap bigger than you. Palance is actually, and this was on my list at one time. It was in Shane. I'm sorry, I said Shame. That's the Western. That's the cowboy from Batman.
From Batman, yeah.
As the villain. He's one of the best Western villains as his gunslinger in Western history. And it definitely deserves a mention. But Alan Ladd, too short.
Yeah.
Stand on boxes.
That's to stand on boxes. Yeah.
From the hip, it's just too low.
Yep.
Damn, he hit me in the ankle.
What? That ain't fair. Yes.
But that just reminded me of another really funny Western spoof that I wasn't thinking about when I made my list, and that's Rustler's Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Where he kept shooting people in the hands. the good guy.
Yeah.
There's a British actor that plays Blackie in that, and he's so great. He just has one short scene, where he goes in and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to shoot you in the hand then. You're gonna shoot me in the hand." Just his reaction, and he shoots him in the hand like he says he's going to, and the two guys behind him that are with him end up shooting him in the back by accident. So that scene alone is worth watching that movie. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Tom Berenger.
Yeah.
G.W. Bailey as his sidekick. Mary Lou Henner. Andy Griffith. They make fun of the spaghetti westerns in those, and there's a lot of great spoofery in that. It's no Blazing Saddles, but it's a fun watch.
Yeah. I actually kind of forgot about that one. I haven't seen it in a while, but
yeah.
But yeah, Blazing Saddles. If you're going to talk about Western spoofs,
Blazing Saddles is on my honorable mention
it's
list.
what.
It had to be.
Yeah.
I couldn't top 5 in good conscience, but I definitely have it on my honorable mentions list.
Yeah. All right. What are we up to? Number 3? Number 4?
We need your number 3.
My number 3 is Open Range with Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall and Annette Bening. Just a great throwback to those old classic westerns, and maybe next to Dances with Wolves, one of Costner's best westerns, I think. And of course Robert Duvall, another great. He's done a lot of westerns. Probably one of his best was Lonesome Dove, the TV miniseries, but this one came pretty close. And it's just a great story. Diego Luna is in it.
Diego Luna?
Huh?
Diego Luna?
Diego Luna, yeah. He's the young man who's sort of tagging along with him, who unfortunately winds up getting hurt. And he kind of motivates the plot with the whole story of why they have to go into town. And of course, they kill the other fellow as well. I forget his name, but yeah, and there's a sweet little love story, kind of a blossoming one between Costner's character and Annette Bening, the old school marm, and just and Michael Gambon, the late Michael Gambon as the villain. We're kind of chewing up the scenery and just being a great villain, and another great. You kind of watch the movies for the shootout. You wait for the shootout at the end because there's got to be one. Every great western has to have a big shootout at the end, and this one doesn't disappoint. It's the climax of the movie, and it's really, really good. So anyway, so that's my number 3, or yeah, my number 3.
Yep.
So I guess we move on to number 4.
My number 4, surprisingly, is a black and white film. It has to be on the top 5 list, and that's High Noon. Gary Cooper.
Yeah.
It when you think westerns, old westerns that are iconic, High Noon's got it, is on everybody's list. It's um, it's kind of a slow burn. It's played well. It paces along very smoothly. Good performances by all the actors. Great Grace Kelly and um, I'm trying to think of the I was it the Dalton gang that he's up against.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Can't remember. But I do remember DeForest.
It's one of those.
DeForest Kelly plays the Doctor on Star Trek. It was one. I believe Lee Van Cleef was in that too. I want to think that.
Well, let's see here.
And there's some support by Lon Chaney, and some other people that were character actors that were in the town, or the people that won't help him when it comes time to face these baddies at High Noon.
Yes, you're right. Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah, it's
Lon Chaney Jr. Yeah, Harry Morgan. Wow.
Harry Morgan. Yeah, it's just one of those films that again, I haven't seen it in decades, but I just remember a lot of it. It just stuck with me.
Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, it had to be on the top 5 list.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, High Noon is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I brought a clip because I'm obsessed with it. It is a slow burn. It's not for everyone. I mean, there's really only action at the very, very end. The rest of it is psychological. It's suspense, and it's deeply philosophical. Also, shout out to Tex Ritter, John Ritter's father, who wrote and performed the theme song that sort of takes us along with the harp.
Me, oh my darling.
That's it. It's beautiful. And it's based on a short story, I think, called The Tin Star. And it's about duty and responsibility and his choice to stay. And Grace Kelly's character is a Quaker, and she lost her father and her brother to gun violence. And she's really against it. And so he has to tell her, if he's going to marry her as a sheriff, that he's going to leave. He's not going to do sheriff duties. But of course, duty comes in the way. And Grace Kelly basically is going to leave him. And I love her turnaround, where at the very end, she, as this beautiful woman in her white wedding dress and all this, she turns back to defend her man, and she is the game changer. And it really is an empowering thing to watch this beautiful, almost dainty woman come and basically be she's the heroine at the end of the day. She saves his life, and they ride off together into the sunset. But it's such a great testament to a person standing on their own for what's right and what's true. The whole town opts out. Everybody punks out. The
miserable chickens.
Miserable chickens. And you watch the clock, and they have the clock going to high noon, and it's just, again, it's not for everyone, because you have to really, you got to just batten down the hatches and sit in there and deal with it. But if you really want if you like Breaking Bad, that kind of slow burn where it's punctuated by action and there's a lot of psychological drama, then it's definitely for you. This is a part that's a little bit, I chose a little bit of some action here. This is not the most that it gets, but it's among the most that you'll get, really. This is when the gang comes back.
Miller!
I don't want to play any more of it, but I do want to say when you think of and you hear the iconic theme song, like building the tension building, when you think of the dramatic turn at the end of a Western, you don't think Grace Kelly running in a wedding dress. And for her to be running, and she's even holding the dress up from the dust, and it's just great. And it's like that's the hero. And it's just amazing as a little girl, me watching this, I felt like anything is possible. I had never seen a Western that enshrined a woman in her femininity going, and she saves the sheriff, she saves her man, she saves the day, she saves the town. And it's that iconic scene of her just like running like and it was against everything she believed on. She had to break every protocol, every ethical thing. I mean, her whole life was this oath against gun violence, and then there she is, and
And
she
then she
turns.
grabbed that Winchester and shot all three of those guys in the face.
she, she was like, so all I can say, there's a word for that. It's called dickmatized. Women know what I'm talking about. That woman, whatever Gary Cooper was working with, that woman was no okay. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
She was
Yeah.
walking legged.
Yeah.
It's like
And
she took one look at
Wait a
Gary
minute, Gary
Cooper,
Cooper didn't
and then
like girls. Wait,
she was a different
sorry.
woman. She was like, yeah, Quaker, what? Gun violence, what? No, get away from my man, you
yeah,
know. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie, guys. If you haven't seen it,
it's
go
a
out and
beautiful
watch
thing.
it.
Yeah. And I want to mention that the other
Black and
woman that you see there with the dark haired woman
yeah,
is Katie Jurado, who is
Yes.
another legendary Mexican actress. And
She's she's also that's the thing is there's two strong female, I would call
yeah.
them co-leads in a way. You see her leaving on the train, and you see Grace Kelly running to him, and it's also, I'm getting chills when I'm talking about it, because the for a male writer to write the female competition as well as he did was
Hmm.
fantastic, because she's the prostitute that he used to have a relationship with, and Grace Kelly is quote unquote the honest clean woman that now he's married to. And Grace Kelly lets this kind of fuck with her reality, and she tells herself, you know what, he's your man. And it's this great moment where she says to Grace Kelly, no, he's yours. Like he's your responsibility. If you want to save his ass, you better go save him, because he is not my responsibility. And it's the women sort of making the decision of who's going to save him, because they kind of know he can't save himself. And it's this beautiful thing of that's how women talk behind closed doors. It's like, okay, we know he can't do it, but which one of us is going to go and clean up after the guy, you know? And it's just such a great, I said, even when I was growing up, I said, how could a man know that this is what women do behind closed doors? We sort of make the decisions, and then men think they're the ones making all the decisions, but it's the women sort of who just determine who are they going to support. Who, you're responsible for this guy, you're responsible, okay, who's responsible? It's like the women are the adults, who's responsible? And it's just, I love that they wrote that in, and it I don't
Yeah.
know. And
In the
this movie is
1950s of all things.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say this is in the 50s. It's in black
right.
and white, and
Yeah.
it's a Gary Cooper thing. But goodness gracious, those two women rule the cast. They're the game changers. They're the action
Wow.
players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic,
Mm.
fantastic.
Had a profound hold on you.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I've watched this movie so many times. Like there was a time in my life, Rory, we would walk into my house in Athens, Georgia, and that movie would just be on a loop. People just would have to deal with it. It was just there on a
It's
loop,
just
Do it
there.
again, girl.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
fantastic. And that
Yeah.
song, that iconic
Oh
Tex
yeah.
Ritter song is just great. Yes. And the drums that carry the suspense and take you from there's also a comedic scene, and it's not supposed to be comedic, but because the town shuts down because the gang is coming back into town, it's a terrible time, and it's like terrorism, they're traumatized, but they go to the school kids, and of course they let school out because you can't have school when the gang is coming to shoot up the town. And there's this funny scene where the kids just all are screaming happily, and they go off to run and play, and they're all like, yay, school is canceled. I always thought that was weird that they put that in there. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's kind of funny. Anyways, all right, I could talk about this movie for an hour. I'm done. I promise I'm done. I wasn't gonna mention it unless Rory did. Rory put it on his list, so I said, all right, here we go.
Oh, well, good.
Put it-
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Okay. Um,
But now she has outed you. It's not on your list.
it's not on my list. It's not on
No,
my
we
list.
don't know that, Rory. You know, I'm a master.
Or
I'm a
you put it
master of
on your list.
disguise.
So that means
No, I'm a master of disguise. You don't know anything. Move
no
along. There's
spaghetti
nothing to see
westerns
here.
and no high noon.
There's nothing to see
How
here.
dare
Keep
you?
moving. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Okay. Well, my number
Where
4.
she grabs the Winchester and throws it to him at the right moment. Anyway.
You guys are so funny. All right. Okay. I apologize. There.
No,
Okay.
no, it's fine. Well, my my number 4 is
Yes.
also black and white. So there's a similarity there. But my number 4 is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Okay.
John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart,
That's got Jimmy Stewart in it. Yeah. Yeah.
Lee Marvin, Vera Miles. Just another great cast, and a great story. And again, like Renee was talking about, somebody who doesn't want to fight. You have Jimmy Stewart, who's a lawyer who wants to bring law and order to the Old West, through legal means. And you got this guy, you got Liberty Valance, who just kind of runs roughshod over this town. And the only person he's scared of, really, although he doesn't want to show it, is John Wayne, because he's a badass.
Damn
And so
right.
there's a lot of similar situations. But I always love one of the concluding lines, where not to spoil anything, but there's people on a train, and they're carrying a body in state, and there's a couple of reporters, an older reporter and a young reporter, and the story is basically told in the movie is basically told in flashback, but you don't know who the narrator is until the end. And then one of the young reporter kind of questions the whole thing. It's like, is any of that really true? And the older reporter says, well, when truth becomes legend, print the legend. and that's almost really what westerns are. We printed the legend on film, of what the West was like, and that's what we committed to film. So, but yeah, and again,
Influenced by
great.
Japan.
I'm sorry.
Even if it's influenced by Japan.
Even if it's influenced by Japan, yeah. But yeah, great performances all the way around. One of the iconic John Wayne movies. Of course, he went on to make so many more that are just really good, and of course, Lee Marvin and Jimmy Stewart, and of course, it has the other, again, like Edmund O'Brien, and so all these other great character actors as well. And it really just kind of becomes this mystery story of who actually killed uh, Liberty Valance. There's it's a mystery, and that's what the story becomes. You find out at the end who actually shoots him. But yeah, it's just one of my favorite westerns. It was a choice between this one, High Noon. Actually, I almost put it on the list, and My Darling Clementine, which is on my honorable mentions list. It's another Henry Fonda movie, but this one I just have a great fondness for this movie.
Can I play, and I promise I'll keep it short, but I play
please.
one very short clip
Yes.
from this, and I'll tell you why, because to me it's a comedic clip, and you get to see the rapport between the two leads here, and I think it's very funny, and it's very enchanting and charismatic, I think.
All right, gunslinger. Hit that can.
Pretty far.
Pilgrim.
pretty
Complaining.
far.
You got to cock it first.
I forgot.
Balance it light in your hand. And don't jerk the trigger. Squeeze.
No, you don't have to coach me.
Yes, yes, he does.
I've been in other westerns.
Bobby, bring me those cans.
It's just so great.
Gonna
There's
need more
so much
cans.
to- Oh, the two different affects, their accents, their personalities. I just seeing them next to each other is
Yeah,
that blows my mind. Yeah.
yeah. And it was Woody Strode was the other guy, the one
Okay.
with the paint cans. But
Throw
yeah,
the paint
they parodied that scene in Million Ways to Die in the West with Seth MacFarlane and Charlize Theron
Oh, great.
trading the whole. But yeah, and you can just see how Stewart, just kind of throws these lines out, very just like, yeah, you don't have to coach me, motherfucker.
And the body language, the difference of the body language of John Wayne and then Jimmy's kind of old he's elegant, but he's like
Elegant and
scared.
lanky, yeah.
Lanky. And they're
And
two different
I
people. Yeah.
think this is the movie where he picks up the whole pilgrim, because that's what he keeps calling Stewart. He keeps calling him Pilgrim.
He said it
so
in the clip,
that
Pilgrim.
yeah, and
in your
that
hand.
became
Balance it in your hand.
There you go. Yeah.
The way he says, and when I was watching John Wayne, so Rory studies people. That's how he does impressions. And I don't notice anything, but I notice it now because of Rory. And when John Wayne said to him, you got to pull the trigger, no one else emphasizes trigger in that sentence, but John Wayne.
You gotta cock it.
Yeah, you gotta cock it.
Can we watch that again? I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I feel like we need to watch
play it again. Yeah.
I feel like we need to watch that again. Yeah. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for 30 seconds. Really, we gotta watch it again.
There's a scene, there's a scene in
Okay, here it
Magnificent.
is.
Oh, okay.
Even the beginning when he says, "All right, gunslinger," like he's being sarcastic.
All right,
That's
gunslinger. Yeah.
John Wayne being sarcastic is a vibe. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's a whole vibe. Here we
Hollywood
go.
vibe.
Yep.
All right, gunslinger. Hit that can.
Pretty far.
Pilgrim. You got to cock it first.
I forgot.
Well, you can kiss my ass.
Balance it light in your hand. And don't jerk the trigger. Squeeze.
No, you don't have to coach me.
Bobby, bring me those cans.
He's bring me those cans. That's what he's so done, and the fact that he's irritated is just great. I love it.
You can just tell he's thinking, oh fuck, we're gonna be here all day.
We're gonna be here all fucking day with this lawyer, this professional.
This
Pilgrim.
Oh gosh, Pilgrim. Oh gosh, it doesn't get any better than that. Get the bigger cans, David. Get the bigger cans. Oh,
you see that barn over there?
Seeing John Wayne get missed. Oh,
how did you miss that?
How'd you miss the side of the barn?
How did you miss the side of the barn?
Broadside of a barn.
Oh my god!
This segues into my number 5 actually, because it's 2 films by John Wayne. I had to put John Wayne on the list on the.
Top 5. Of course.
So Rio Bravo,
American not to.
Rio Bravo and the Sons of Katie Elder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. Because I love the chemistry between Dean Martin and John Wayne. Mm-hmm. They're like the Rat Pack in the West. So, delightful movies, a lot of fun to watch. Again, you get some comedy and you get good Western action as well. Great movies. So that's my number 5.
Nice. Yeah, Sons of Katie Elder. And you also mentioned Rio Bravo. There's this a
Rio
couple of I always
Bravo,
confuse it. Rio Bravo and Rio Lobo. I always couldn't get those because
right?
they have lots of. Now Rio Lobo is the one
Movie.
with Robert
Yeah.
Mitchum, right?
I think Rio Lobo is Mitchum. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rio
it's
Bravo is got Dean Martin. Dean Martin is the
Martin.
alcoholic, and he's trying to get on the wagon. Most famous westerns actor.
Most famous actor of all time, or the best. Yeah,
Well,
I would.
he's certainly known for his westerns.
Yeah, I think. When you think westerns, I think really people do think
I
John
think
Wayne.
John popped their head right away. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
from
why wouldn't it?
Stagecoach, The Searchers. We may do a
Yeah,
John
everybody's
Wayne.
got the
There's
Searchers
just all
top
of
list. I
Yeah.
just think that one is a little too brutal, but that's probably
What?
some of the charm of it.
What, The Searchers?
So it did make my list. I thought about it. Yeah, I thought about putting it on the list, and then I just said, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm not
it
going
is
for
pretty.
it. It's a little brutal.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Great cast. Jeffrey Hunter, a very young Natalie Wood.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just enjoyed Rio Bravo and Sons of Katie Elder more. So nudged it off the list.
Cool.
What was your number 5?
Well, my number 5. That was oh shit. What was my number 5? Oh my god, I forgot.
Well, what was my number?
The Outlaw Josie Wales. The Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
This
Yeah,
is
Clint
after his
Eastwood.
spaghetti westerns. This is probably one of his best American westerns when he came back. And it's just again another
I'm more
great
of a High
cast.
Plains Drifter fan.
Well, yeah, High Plains. No, I agree. High Plains Drifter is good, but
That seems more.
this one kind of, I don't know, nudged it a little. Yeah, High Plains almost made my list, but this one, I just like this one. It's got Sandra Locke in it, and Chief Dan, the old Indian.
Dan George.
Dan George, thank you. Just classic Western. John Vernon as the bad guy. It's a great Western. What can I say?
The Dean House.
Yeah, the Dean from Animal House is the bad guy in this one. And
John
he's what's
Vernon.
I think between John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, I think those guys pretty much dominate Westerns as far as, when you think about Western, you either think Clint Eastwood or John Wayne. Eastwood, of course, did, besides the spaghetti Westerns, you mentioned High Plains Drifter, and some that maybe weren't as good, like Hang 'em High and stuff like that. But
yeah, that had Bad Hango.
Yeah, that's true.
And Alan Hale Jr.
Of course, he went on to do Unforgiven, which is probably another great Western, which, just because we talked about it so much in a previous episode, that's the only reason why
not to talk about it today.
Haven't talked about it. Yeah, because we kind of. But it is one of the great
mentioning
Westerns.
some of the TV shows that came out. There were a lot of them in the 60s. The Gunsmoke really started all of that.
Yeah.
And then you had Bonanza, like she said. You had Have Gun Will Travel.
Yeah.
The Rebel. Oh my God, there were just so many of them. The Big Valley.
Yeah. High Chaparral.
Right. Wild Wild West, even.
Wild Wild West, yeah, which is more of a. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
it's
Renee.
okay. No, I was just gonna say to Julie, yeah, Julie, I was my gateway was Bonanza, and I
Mhm.
absolutely just I still do. I still watch Bonanza. I love it, all of the Adam episodes. Yeah, it's just great. I love everything about it. So the culture really, TV and movies. I mean, how many years do you guys think it was really controlling the airwaves? I mean, Americans were watching this stuff
At least 20 years.
at
I
least
would say
20
that's 60.
years.
I mean,
Gunsmoke had like
50s and
14 or
60s.
15 seasons.
Yeah, it's one of the
Wow.
longest
Uh,
running.
when it came down to time to cancel shows in the late
Mhm.
60s, Gilligan's Island got canceled after its third season because the guy who was the head of the network, his wife was a Bonanza fan. Or
Oh,
no,
I believe
no,
it.
his wife was a Matt Dillon,
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke fan.
Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
My
it.
favorites, I'd say, were actually kind of short lived, but my favorites was always Have Gun Will Travel and
Yeah.
with Richard.
Skipper.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
And the one with Steve McQueen, Wanted Dead or Alive. Oh, and the Rifleman. Actually, the
Yeah.
Rifleman's my
Oh, wow. Love that.
Chuck Connor's great theme song. Yeah,
So good. All that stuff still stands the test of time. I'm serious. Like, if
yeah.
you
Yeah.
go
Oh
back and
yeah.
you watch that stuff now, you will love it. I think kids should go out and watch that stuff. It was really riveting and good television, and these
Hmm.
movies are just fantastic. That
Yeah.
not I love them. I think they're still
So,
relevant. So
so we're at an hour and 6 minutes now. We're just gonna do our honorable mention. Uh, so I'm gonna do mine real fast. Little Big Man with Dustin
Mhm.
Hoffman,
okay.
Dick
Yep.
George.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful kind of spoof of the westerns. Actually, it's not really a spoof. It's just a funny telling of a funny story,
Hmm.
and it just happens to be western. Blazing Saddles
Yep.
had me on the honorable mention list. Django, the original one with
Oh,
Franco Nero,
Franco Nero.
uh,
Yeah,
violent western.
yeah.
High Plains Drifter, we mentioned True Grit, the original True Grit with John
Oh,
Wayne.
John
yes.
Wayne. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. That was another
I've
life
never
changer
been
for me.
called comfortable before.
So good. So good.
Rooster Cogburn was the sequel, but even though it had Kate Hepburn in it, it wasn't as good as the original.
Yeah,
And The Great Train Robbery from 1903. I mean, it had to
yeah.
we had to give a nod to that.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Well, the thing
David is
about
asking. David was asking about the new Django, Quentin Tarantino's movie. Did you guys like that?
I liked
yeah,
it. It's a good
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah. That's not a bad movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta
Christoph
say,
Waltz.
I like
Christoph
the
Waltz.
fight
Yeah,
in the original one more.
yeah. I
You
gotta say,
know,
I think I like Hateful Eight better if you're gonna talk about Tarantino's westerns.
Mm.
But because it was, I don't know. It's just no, they're both good.
a
Okay.
Lone Ranger.
Yeah. Oh, the Lone Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah, the TV show, not the movies.
Yeah.
They still haven't done a good movie for that yet.
They still have not both. Yeah, both of them are not very good. Okay, so my honorable
Oh, did
mentions, just
somebody say
quickly.
it's not? Did somebody say they're not very good? Because I was gonna say, I had something to say to that
Ah, but it's not as bad as Death of
Yeah.
Smoochie.
it's not as bad as Death of Smoochie. I had to run
That's
the
true.
graphic. I
Oh,
just
thank
had to
you.
run.
Bless
I've been
you.
waiting the whole time because you were talking about the remake of Magnificent Seven, and I was waiting for another bad
Ah,
movie to come.
And
And I said,
bam, and
it's
I don't
bam.
not
know.
as
I don't
bad as
know.
Death.
That 70s version might even be worse than Smoochie.
There you
Yeah,
go. There you
yeah.
go. It's not as bad as Death to Smoochie. All right,
Oh, and I
carry
gotta
on.
say, there was actually a TV series based on Magnificent Seven for a while with Michael Biehn as the lead. But
Really?
it was, I think it only lasted like 13 episodes, so
Because
because
how many times
they couldn't kill off any of the main cast, I guess, or something. All right. So quickly, my honorable mentions: Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
Yeah.
My Darling Clementine, Tombstone, True Grit, the original, and
Tombstone.
I like the remake.
Oh,
I like
a
the
Tombstone.
Joel I like the Coen Brothers remake, and Silverado. We didn't mention Silverado. I thought that was a really
Yeah.
good western.
Silver
No, I
just they were trying too hard, I think. That one didn't make it for me.
okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Did
And
we mention
just to
the
kind of cover
Coen?
my bases, I said, and too many more to mention,
Yeah,
Yeah.
too many more to
which would
mention.
include High Noon.
And then did we? Yes, of course. And the Coen brothers short story, the 4 vignettes with Buster Scruggs.
Oh,
But
the Ballad of
Scruggs,
Buster
Ballad,
Scruggs. Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
fantastic. I know
That
it was
was.
multiple, but
that is so
wow,
brutal, though. Ah,
Yeah.
that movie is so brutal.
The
it was.
smoochy emoji.
The smoochy emojis, I don't know, and, I didn't see the smoochy emoji, but that's hilarious. Oh, if you're talking about this, yeah, the meme, Manny actually created this, so Manny himself made that he's the artist behind that one, yeah. And David asked if you've ever done a movie if you've ever done a show about the worst movies of all times, guys. Have you ever done bad movies?
Oh wow,
No, but that's not a bad idea.
that's a pretty good idea.
We could do that. And I also want to do a John Wayne. I think we'll do John Wayne in a future episode because I
Yeah,
think he
'cause a lot of
deserves.
movies we didn't
He de-
mention. Yeah,
yeah, he deserves a show on his own because there's so many great ones.
yeah, that's right.
And maybe some of the other ones as well, like Jimmy Stewart and
Jimmy Stewart.
so.
Did a lot of
We
Hitchcock.
can do more. We'll do more impressions. So all right. Well, that's our
Some
Western
political
theme.
movies too.
Yeah. So
Jimmy Stewart had gone into if Mr. Smith had gone into Washington today, he would just be like, "Well, you guys are doing nothing. You people suck."
I know. Yeah, you couldn't make that movie today. It's another one you couldn't make today. It would be an entirely different
guy.
See, Smith would be more of a I think he'd be more of a Bernie Sanders type character if they did it today.
Mr. Sanders goes to Washington.
There you go. Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. So
I did that impression wearing a John Wayne outfit.
there you go.
Did a Bernie Sanders impression dressed as John Wayne. That will never happen in my lifetime again, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So what are we doing next week?
Well, if it's we're talking about John Wayne just now. I don't know. Is it too soon? Can we go ahead and do Wayne next week?
Too soon?
Too soon? Since it's fresh in our minds, and get back to doing another actor.
Relative. No, not too high.
I'm sorry.
I could certainly do it. Yeah. That's up to you. We've done Clint Eastwood already.
Yeah, we did Eastwood, so yeah, let's do Wayne. Why not?
John Wayne.
Yeah, he did other things besides westerns as well. So
he did a lot of war movies.
War movies.
He did a lot of movies. He even played Genghis Khan in a film. Well,
that's the one that killed him.
Not going to be on our top 5 list.
That's the one that killed him, basically. Well, that and of course smoking like
you got a
day or something.
Advanced. It just took out Agnes' forehead.
Yeah, I don't think it was any coincidence that pretty much all the cast of Genghis Khan wound up
they all
dying of cancer.
Yeah,
because they wwere out in the nuclear testing grounds.
Testing ground.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's safe.
Wait a minute. Was it who was the lead actress in that? I want to say Yvonne DiCarlo, but I can't. I don't
remember. Let's see. Well, let's give a quick look-see here. Can you guess?
I love Clint Eastwood.
On K with a K on the cast.
I've already done that show. Go back and look it up.
Omar Sharif,
Joe.
James Mason. No, that's not the wrong one. That's not the right one.
Susan
John Haynes. There we go. Susan Hayward.
It's Susan Hayward. That's who it was.
And Agnes Moorehead, Pedro Armendariz, Thomas, John Hoyt, William Conrad. Well,
Conrad stuck around for a while. Hoyt stuck around for a while.
Yeah, they somehow they survived.
They must have shot their scenes in Hollywood soundstage.
Oh, it's called The Conqueror.
The Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah, that's the movie. Yeah.
I don't think Susan Hayward died of cancer, did she? But she would definitely have been out there, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was the lead.
But yeah, Agnes Moorehead.
Yeah.
Pedro Armendariz, who was in To Russia with Love. And Lee Van Cleef was in this movie as well, apparently.
Actually, he was dying of cancer when he did From Russia with Love. Actually hired him to help him out. Eon Productions.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Satchmo.
Louis Armstrong?
Louis Armstrong, when he sang the song for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, We Have All the Time in the World. He was dying of cancer at the time. So they actually did that work to help him out, and help his widow out, with expenses.
We have all the time in the world. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then. So next week, John Wayne, by golly. So tune in, pilgrims.
I'll be
we'll have dueling. We'll have dueling Waynes next week. Yeah.
That was Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Sandy, you got to start from the Sandy. Hit replay as soon as we wrap because you don't want to miss this one. This was great. This was
minutes.
fun.
Wow.
Yeah. This was very fun. All right, and next week is John Wayne, right?
Next week is John
everybody
Wayne.
Tune in again next week.
It'll be a good double feature with this one.
That's right. So thanks everyone for watching another episode of Two Guys and a Gal talking about movies, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal talking about movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.